It's just setting up now. We're gonna go on it in a second. Okay, it's redirecting to Facebook Live page. All right, perfect. Now we are live. Um, Hi guys, I just wanted to introduce David Eskenazi. He is the founder of Aliyah Network, and he has a great story, and he's going to share with you his mission statement. So again, my name is Ariel Rahmanov. I'm with Keller Williams Realty Liberty, and David, I wanted to ask you, can you give us a little background on yourself and where you're from, when you made Aliyah? What is
Sure.
Aliyah for people who don't know?
Sure, of course. Thank you, first of all, for having me, Ariel. I appreciate it. My name is David Eskenazi. I'm originally from Seattle, Washington. I grew up there, went to high school, and then went to post-high school yeshiva in New York, in Far Rockaway. I believe the same yeshiva that you're affiliated with yourself. Lived there for almost 20 years, had 3 kids, and made Aliyah almost 7 years ago in 2013, actually. So we came with 3 kids and had a 4th child here. And we're living in a place called Ma'ale Adumim, which is about 10 minutes outside of Jerusalem in the Judean desert, actually.
Wow.
So, and what Aliyah is, Aliyah means to ascend, to go up, and Aliyah is a description of when a Jew moves from somewhere in the diaspora to Eretz Israel, to the land of Israel.
That's awesome. And when did you make Aliyah again?
2013 August. So this coming August will be 7 years.
Nice. And you started a network called Aliyah Network.
Yes. Yeah. I'd love to get into that with you, how that happened. Actually, we were in Seattle for the first time in 7 years, visiting my family for Hanukkah. And I had met a lot of people there who were asking me, who hadn't seen me in quite some time, actually. Some of these guys were my campers in camp back in the day when I was a counselor for them. And they're asking me about making Aliyah, because I think there were some issues within Seattle for them religiously, maybe for the school choices for their kids. And they're either going to go east to New York or maybe east to Israel. And I honestly didn't have enough time to answer a lot of the questions. And it really bothered me. It was on my mind quite a bit about how there was such a need and there's so many questions. And I knew that there were so many people in Israel who would love to help them, but they just don't know about each other. People here don't know about people there who have that need to find out information, and people over there didn't know about people here who would be willing to help them. And I was in Paris when I got a call from a shul here in Ma'ale Adumim, from one of the individuals there who is part of that synagogue. And he asked me to join a board meeting, actually, to see if I can help fundraise for the synagogue due to a deficit in the 2019 year. And when I was asked to help out, not being a fundraiser myself, I was somewhat taken by surprise. But I had the idea on the spot. I thought to myself, if instead of just asking a donor to possibly help out with the synagogue that exists here in Israel, what if we were able to get 50 people together? Mm-hmm. Men, women, family members, mothers, husbands, professionals, people who can help, maybe find a job or find the community, talk about renting or buying a property, whatever it may be, and be able to go back to a donor and say, hey, listen, instead of just giving our community help, we're going to go ahead and in the process of accepting the help from you, be able to open up our hearts, our homes, our minds, and our community to you. And interestingly enough, the idea was well received by an individual by the name of Michael Pomerantz, who called me to that meeting, and he followed up with me and said, "Hey, listen, can we write this up?" So he wrote up an article and sent it out to the community here, and I thought that was actually pretty interesting. Like somebody actually did something, mm-hmm. And it from that idea, it pretty much started to open up to a more of a global network, not just one-to-one Ma'ale Adumim to Seattle, but I realized, hey, wait a minute, maybe there could be a global network that would be able to manage what might be a great future for Klal Yisrael, for the nation of Israel.
That's awesome. And how did you come up with the idea again? I mean, that
Well,
was
like I said, like on the spot, when I was asked to fundraise, I was like, I'm not so comfortable asking somebody for money,
uh-huh,
for nothing. Hey, just help my synagogue, Mr. Donor. I thought, well, what if we can give back?
uh-huh.
What if we can give back? What if we could offer our community to even one family and help them make Aliyah? What would that be worth to that donor? You know,
Right.
and I knew that's a number which is abstract actually, because it doesn't really have a dollar sign. I mean, if you can know that his donation might help a few of the families actually make Aliyah to be able to move to Israel, that would be a fantastic initiative. That's really how it started back in January actually.
Right. Really, this
So
past January 2020.
that's correct. That's correct. And
Wow.
interestingly speaking, at the time, I thought to myself, organizations like AACI, Nefesh B'Nefesh, for those who don't know, Nefesh B'Nefesh is a major organization that helps American Aliyah to Israel.
Hmm.
I just thought if there's going to be a great Aliyah in the future, we certainly do not know if or when that might happen. Perhaps we ought to build a network that's capable of doing so, knowing that just one organization wouldn't be enough. So, without rambling on here too much, the idea is to have literally no particular number, but have real representation in every city in every town across Israel, to be able to talk to things like, how to adapt to this particular schools, if you're a lone soldier, or if you have children, how to adapt to Israeli life or make new friends here, dealing with investments, taxes, buying or renting an apartment, finding a job, etc.
Right.
Retraining in new careers. So that's what really started the entire idea. And of course, here we are post Corona,
Nice.
and we now have a pin that pricked that proverbial bubble that is now made Aliyah. I think the year-over-year numbers are like a 400% increase in Aliyahs over last year.
400%.
I believe so. From like
Wow.
I think July or June, I'm sorry, June or May of last year to this year, I think it's a 300 to 400% increase in Aliyah from America.
Right. So just to circle back a little bit, so it sounds like you, instead of like asking for money to donate for Nefesh B'Nefesh to help people make Aliyah, you're more practical. You're like, how can I get you to Israel? How can I get you to make Aliyah? Meaning, and you help them with the logistics of that.
Yeah, and actually beyond that, a lot of the organizations like Nefesh B'Nefesh will often help you get here, and even to some extent help you post Aliyah, to help you integrate with the banking system and to be able to get a lot of the paperwork, which is a lot of bureaucracy here in Israel that's quite difficult to deal with. They will help to some extent. What we're going to be able to do is help people pre-Aliyah and post-Aliyah. So there are going to be relationships that are going to be made that are hopefully going to be lasting. People here are going to be able to really help them beyond landing here, so to speak, which was an experience I had when we made Aliyah 7 years ago. Once we arrived, we were sort of on our own. The concept of the Aliyah Network is you can really build relationships through the network and keep those relationships going strong even after you land here.
Right. So can you explain how are you different than Nefesh B'Nefesh? Like what makes you so unique? What makes Aliyah Network so unique versus Nefesh B'Nefesh?
Well, I think that what's going to be a distinction of ourselves over such organizations like them is that you're really going to get a connection that's really one-to-one. It's going to enable a potential lean to easily contact relevant people already living in Israel again. And those people can either directly deal with the question or issue that a person might have or find somebody else who could. Many groups that currently do exist to help in Aliyah related topics, either let's say on Facebook or WhatsApp, are inherently limited in how they work. On Facebook, for instance, a person will post a question and a member of the group will provide an answer, for instance. The
Mhm.
Aliyah Network's website will be fully searchable, much like an eBay or an Amazon, and the network will combine the social media aspect of Facebook with a fully functional, data-driven information site as well. So in that way, you can search neighborhoods, you can search jobs, you can search history. Right now, as I mentioned on Facebook, somebody will type a question and a member will find the question and answer it. How do you go back and learn about that communication? You really have to search through a whole ton of information to find that answer. With the Aliyah Network, we're gonna combine the social media aspect and a searchable aspect. Sort of like I think about eBay, because back in the day I used to do a lot of selling on eBay. This analogy I think rings true. Imagine that you wanted to look up an antique that was from 1920, a particular statue, a Yadro, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to ask who has one for sale, and then a bunch of sellers would say, I have one, and then you have to ask how much is it and how much is your shipping. That's not how eBay works. That's not how Amazon works. What we want to do is get a data-driven site that's completely related to Aliyah, that's completely searchable and three-dimensional, as opposed to what typically exists now. And Nefesh is really being overrun right now. They're not able to. We're going to be working directly with Nefesh B'Nefesh, by the way. We met with them. Yes, we met with them about a month ago, and knowing that they are being overrun, they're looking for organizations that can help them pre-qualify American Aliyah, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing for them. So we will be automating a good part of that process, God willing, here in a little bit. We're building that out right now on the website.
Mm-hmm. Can you like take me through the process a little bit, just like a few basic points in the process, like what, meaning let's say someone were to he decides to make Aliyah and he needs, he wants to make Aliyah, him and his family. What should he do right now if he needs help?
And it's a very specific question. There's many different cases. It's a one-to-one case. That's exactly why the Aliyah Network is going to be designed to handle that. Often we're going to point people to Nefesh B'Nefesh to get the process going, to making sure that the paperwork that they need to get filled out is done, make sure that they qualify for the help with Nefesh B'Nefesh, for instance. But let's talk about a Russian coming from Russia to Israel. There are groups that are specifically capable of helping them out that Nefesh does not help with, for instance. So the Aliyah Network hopefully will be a hub that will allow for those groups that currently exist on Facebook to be able to exist in their own way within the network, to be able to target and to be able to deal with the Russian Aliyah, for instance. We don't want to recreate groups. We want groups to be able to utilize the network specifically and to be able to make those connections in real time. So that's what it's about. It's really about communication, which, one-to-one, it's a one-to-one case, Ariel. It's not, there's no one answer for your question, to be honest.
I got it. I understand. So David, you mentioned that, that case in Russia, like that Russian guy can, make Aliyah. So essentially Aliyah Network is not just specific to America, it's specific to the world.
We do have aspirations to be able to help Russian Aliyah, French Aliyah, Ethiopian Aliyah, and American Aliyah. Wow. Currently, we're focused on an English site that's going to be very much focused on American Aliyah, which is, of course, a need today. But we do have aspirations to be able to build out a completely global sort of site, which is going to be translated in many different languages as well.
Wow, that's incredible. Wow. So
listen, I'm sorry.
How can we spread the word? How can we make you more known?
So right now we exist right now on Facebook. If you go to a group called just Aliyah Network, you should know that the history of the group was originally called Kochav Yisrael, which in Hebrew means Star of Israel. I wanted to make sure you knew that. It was kind of difficult for me to drop that name because emotionally it had a lot of meaning to me. And the idea of Kochav Yisrael is that we wanted every individual to be able to shine. We wanted every individual to be able to have an impact and like a star. And the way that the site's going to work is that those who are actually more impactful are going to sort of rise to the front of the site so that people who have the need could find them.
Right.
So the reason why we changed it to Aliyah Network is because that name obviously speaks, more directly to the audience in which we're trying to reach. And it really talks to exactly what we're trying to do. So yeah, the www.aliyahnetwork.com is currently being built. When we hit Corona, I was like, all right, it looks like we're gonna have to put this on hold. So literally for 3 months, I almost 3 months, I just put it on the back burner. Actually, I figured that God had different plans. And my wife was saying to me at the time, she's like, Dave, you never know. With the problems that we're having with Corona, we might see a tremendous increase. And what she said was absolutely true, as we're seeing today. So yeah, www.aliyahnetwork.com will be the website, and it should be launching in about 2 to 3 weeks' time.
Okay.
And right now on Facebook, you can find us on a group called Aliyah Network.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll put it in the comments below. I'll put the link to the Facebook group below so that people can have easy access to it.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
But you mentioned something about Corona. So it sounds like a lot more people are making Aliyah during the virus. Is that what you're implying, or meaning is the Corona different now making Aliyah versus prior to Corona?
Right. So there's no doubt about it that there are many reasons why a person might consider moving to Israel. Sometimes a person's moving to Israel because they want to have a positive life in Israel. Sometimes they want to move to Israel because they want to avoid having a bad life where they currently are. And the perception for many people today is that America has many issues, and anti-Semitism seems to be on the rise, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's definitely prompting people to consider taking up their roots here. Just between, while we're talking about the topic, for me, my wife was always saying, why don't we live in the land of Abraham? Why aren't we pray for it. We pray for it every day. And I didn't have a good answer for her. And I just knew that the future of the Jewish people was here personally. So that's why we came. And I think a lot of people have many different reasons, but to leave a bad situation seems to be on the rise, for better or for worse. A lot of people have different thoughts and opinions about that. I reserve my own judgment. Everybody's got their reasons, and I actually envision a time in the future where you can imagine entire communities coming here.
Right.
I'm not trying to jump the gun, but the way Aliyah Network will be built is that entire groups will be able to communicate via the network.
I mean, that is the goal, right? The goal is for a Jew to go back to their homeland.
Right? That is eventually the goal. Yes.
Right.
I mean, whether or not, we're very sensitive to calculating those times. It's not something I like to do. Right. But, success always favors the prepared.
That's true. All right. Well, is there anything else you would like to share, or that's pretty much sums it all up?
I think that, if you tell me, I'm trying to make it as clear as possible that what our mission is, what our vision is,
right,
and what we're about. And we really very much so look forward to creating this network to help people.
Right. So I guess my last question is, what can everyone do who is watching this this interview? What can they do to help you, to help your mission come to fruition?
Okay, so for sure. So if you live in Israel, join the Aliyah Network. Create a profile, create an account, show people what you're capable of doing. There are many things that a person can do here. We're going to have information like, can you host somebody for Shabbat? Can you drive them through the neighborhood? Are you a realtor in your neighborhood? Can you help with real estate? Can you help with finding a job? What are your capabilities? Make that clear on the network if you live here, so that people can find you and search you according to your location, right? If you're somebody who's living in New York or other places in America, considering Aliyah, definitely join the network as well. Tell your friends about it. We're eventually going to be a Facebook for Aliyah. We want this to be a place where a person can go, whether or not they themselves are considering Aliyah. We want Jews around the world to be able to root for people and show their support, give them a thumbs up, give them a like, sort of like what we're doing on Facebook, but again, in a more three-dimensional sort of way.
Right. Yeah, no, that sounds very exciting. And And again, if you need any help on the real estate end, maybe we could talk about that in a different interview if you're interested.
I am very, very much interested. Of course, we have
Awesome.
individuals on that end. And by the way, I think I wanted to bring this up earlier. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Today, yeah? All right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best way to spend my birthday. Something I do truly value. As an Israeli citizen,
Yeah.
this is one of my values. The biggest value for a Jew is to go back to their homeland, to go back to their forefathers' land, and the best birthday gift I could have is having an individual like you setting something up like this. And if there's any way I can help, let me know.
It's absolutely, we're all kulanu achim, we're all brothers, my friend. We're all brothers, we're one family. I'm showing my internet connection's not good. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
I would say one of the things that I did not know prior to coming here, my view from my house is looking out towards Har Nevo, the mountain which Moses was looking upon the land but not entering the land. And I had no idea before coming here, just having that as my distant view from my home, what kind of impact that had on my psyche. It's living in Eretz Yisrael is definitely it's a very strong aid for those who want to become closer to God and for those who want to be involved in keeping God's Torah, for sure.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me in this interview. And again, I will post a link to Aliyah Network below. And thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Ariel. You too. Peace
Or
out.
good night in Israel.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.